All right, today we are going to be talking early offseason dynasty sells. So these are guys that if you have them on your roster and you can get a good return from them, we'd recommend selling them. Not, for various reasons, and there are going to be some that you're mad about, but it's going to get interesting. But first, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got all kinds of new dynasty content, buys and sells, rookie content, etc., coming out every single week all off season. So make sure you subscribe and you can get that exclusive content. Make sure you like the video as well. And Nathan, let's get into our early dynasty sells. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. Our first dynasty sell is Justin Fields. And yes, you can probably, if you've listened to us, especially for a long time, you're like, are you really going to go down this road again? Are you really going to do this with Justin Fields again?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. And look, I mean, I was the first to admit on our show, on our podcast, on our YouTube, and we even did a short about Justin Fields midseason. I mean, Justin Fields is producing at an extremely high fantasy rate between the rushing upside, between, having some passing. Really, it's just the rush. I mean, really, it's just the rushing upside. He was breaking records or almost broke the record in terms of, rushing yards and things like that, rushing production during a season. And he was able to be a QB1 in fantasy this year. And so, with Justin Fields, why are you looking to move off of Justin Fields? Given all that, given the good accomplishments, given the good seasons, why would you sell Justin Fields? And who would you sell him for? That's the more important question.
Yeah, well, I mean, who would I sell him for? Well, let's see what his ADP is right now. It's currently equivalent to Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, Deshaun Watson, CeeDee Lamb. Those are kind of the four players that are going right around there where Justin Fields is. His ADP is 10 even right now, so he's going pretty much consensus 110. Right now in startups. That's too high for me. Why? Well, what's his draft capital? Well, it's not top 5. And the Bears suck. That's why they have the first overall pick.
Can I interject something here?
Yeah.
It is hilarious how much Bears fans have been flexing that they got the number 1 pick. I'm like, you are flexing that you were the.
We have Justin Fields and the number 1 pick. Is there a correlation there? There might be, because Justin Fields might suck. Why? Because he does. He can't. He is a running back playing at the quarterback position. That's why he's been producing at such a high level. His rushing upside is unlike any I've ever seen. Maybe Lamar Jackson is actually, it's a lot like Lamar Jackson, but even more because he can't throw the ball. I watched a lot of, we live in Indianapolis, so the only other team we are blessed to watch every season is the Bears, which is really unfortunate, but we watch a lot of Bears football. And I watched a lot of Justin Fields this year. I probably watched 5 or 6 games with Justin Fields. And he was missing screen throws, screen passes, left and right. Screen passes. He can't function within a pocket that breaks down. He does not step up in the pocket. He functions well as a QB who does really college-type offensive plays, RPOs. He does really well outside of the pocket. He's like a more athletic, to me, he's a more athletic Baker Mayfield. He's more explosive, more athletic. His arm is incredible. He has an elite level arm. Can he make a Jalen Hurts jump? Because that's what everyone's been saying. Fields, he's producing at such a high level. This is so reminiscent of Jalen Hurts last year.
He could.
Yeah. Are you really going to put your money on that?
No.
The reason Jalen Hurts was such a big deal this year is because few people expected him to make that jump. He is not in a position to make that jump. And a lot of the reason Jalen Hurts made that elite level Josh Allen-like jump is because he had A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and one of the best committee back systems there is in the NFL with an incredibly good coaching staff. Do you know who the Bears have? Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. And they don't have a running back. Don't say Khalil Herbert. Please don't say Khalil Herbert. It's kind of funny. So I don't know what else to say that isn't just repetitive here about Fields. I don't dislike Fields as a person or a player. I've actually really enjoyed watching him in his development this year because against all odds, he's produced at a high fantasy level in one of the worst rosters in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And I really hope he does well. I hope he's successful in Chicago. But the truth is, he was taken 11th or 12th in the draft 2 years ago.
Something.
Not in the top 5. The Bears have the first overall pick with C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis on the board. They are all with the exception of maybe Will Levis, Stroud and Bryce Young are better prospects than Justin Fields ever was and ever will be. They have more tools. They're more talented. They have more success in college, and they're just better, more well-rounded QBs. It is not outside the realm of possibilities that the Bears hold on to that pick and they move on from Fields.
Oh, you
are
going to get so much crap for saying that.
That's fine with me. I'm just saying what I see. And what I see on the TV every single time I watch Fields is that he's not that great of a quarterback.
Okay.
And can he make that jump? Sure.
Maybe. But I'll play devil's advocate here. And before, I know you are dying, if you haven't already, without even getting through this whole segment.
As much as I hated my James Conner take, I'm going to be destroyed for this.
Oh, yeah. They're going to hate you.
Yeah.
I know you're dying to make a comment. Just wait. Just hold on one more second before you get in the comment and just completely cry. You cannot. I mean, look. We are acknowledging Justin Fields was a good fantasy asset, an elite fantasy asset last year, and he probably could be this year too. He probably will be if he stays healthy. Health is also something that you have to make sure you take into account. He is a rushing quarterback. He is primarily a rushing quarterback. When you have quarterbacks like that, health is something as well. But do you really watch Justin Fields and you say that guy's going to have a long NFL career? That guy's an elite passer. You don't. There's no way you do. Even if he's an elite fantasy asset, even if he's proven that he can do it and he's probably going to do it again this year, are you really taking Justin Fields over Deshaun Watson for cereal? Like, Justin Fields' ADP is higher than Deshaun. Deshaun Watson, top 5 fantasy producer, so the points are there. He has a mega contract. He's a way better passer, way better quarterback all around. Why would you take Justin Fields? Dak Prescott's probably going to outlast Justin Fields in the league. Even Kyler, Kyler's just.
Yep.
And look,
all those guys have a
totally
contract.
acknowledging that he could make a big jump. He could make a Jalen Hurts jump, and we totally missed on Jalen Hurts. We sound like idiots about Jalen Hurts. But Nathan is right. I mean, Stroud and Young are both better prospects than Fields were. There's a reason that they are going top 5. They're going to, and Justin Fields did not. And that also says something about team investment. I mean, the Bears that was their pick that they picked him with, right? Did they move up to get him, or was that their pick?
They traded up to get him.
So
with a different coaching staff, a different general manager, all that.
But
stuff.
That is not like a Trey Lance level investment.
No, it's not.
So that argument doesn't exactly apply here either.
Can I say a finding here that we're going to move on from Justin Fields here in a second.
No,
but one more thing.
I think it's important to make sure that people don't completely just go off the rails.
No, you're right, because there's going to be some ridiculous investment into Justin Fields this offseason. It's kind of scary. Team pass plays per game for the Bears this year, 22.4. That was 32nd in the league. That's like dead last. Fields' fantasy points per dropback is 0.82 points per dropback. That was number 1 in the NFL. You know what that means? He doesn't throw the ball. He can't throw the ball. All of his points, every time, all of his points from his dropbacks, almost all of them are literally from the run game. Like, it's insane. He has 1,100 rushing yards this season in 2,200 passing yards.
And this is this is just a prediction. We think that there are assets behind Justin Fields that will be worth more than Justin Fields 1.5 or 2 years from now.
Yeah, and a big thing here for you guys, y'all Justin Fields lovers, if the Bears trade back and they draft a wide receiver, that will actually, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable about the dynasty outlook of Justin Fields because of what happened with Jalen Hurts in that situation in Philadelphia, because once we saw them get those receivers, we were like, okay, this situation is looking a bit better for Hurts. It looks like they're building around him. And I'd say that means he's a little bit of a safer option, but still, I mean, we don't know for sure.
We know he's young. We know the situation was terrible. We know he was throwing to nobody. It doesn't, I don't think it changes a whole lot.
It doesn't.
So again, I know you're going to the comments right now to complain. That's fine. We can't reply to every comment about Justin Fields. You have a pretty 9-minute understanding about how we feel about Justin Fields. So that's probably the biggest one. Moving on, the next one is going to be George Pickens. So George Pickens,
decent one too.
Yeah, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. It was kind of hard to find some sells here. I mean, most of these guys end up being buys because everybody wants to short people after the season ends. But with George Pickens, I mean, George Pickens is still going 5th, 6th round in startups. George Pickens is still going to be out-targeted next year by Deontay Johnson. George Pickens, while he has incredible individual skills, a body control like I've never seen in my life, athleticism. He's got great hands. He's not a wide receiver one. He's not. And look, I said this coming into the NFL draft last year. I didn't really see it with Pickens. I like his highlight playability. I like him being a supporting cast wide receiver, but I don't see him being a dominant wide receiver one in the NFL. And you couple his skill set with the situation that he's in Pittsburgh, which, with Deontay Johnson, with Pat Freiermuth, with Najee Harris, with Kenny Pickett, with Mike Tomlin coaching. You have to admit, that's not the best place George Pickens could have gone in order for him to have achieved the wide receiver one level. So now, with George Pickens, there are going to be people this offseason that are like, okay, George Pickens is going to be the wide receiver one in Pittsburgh before we know it, so I got to buy him. Well, that's when you sell. And it all depends on, with these sales, it all depends on where they're going. I saw Justin Fields go at the 106 in my last startup draft. So that means he went over Jamar Chase. And that means he went over Deshaun and Kyler and Lamar and Dak. I mean, all guys I would take over Justin Fields long term pretty easily. So it depends on where they all go. If you're getting Justin Fields in the second, there's probably nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, not a problem.
If you're getting George Pickens in the 8th round, there's probably not a problem with that at all. But we're just going off where we're seeing these guys go in terms of the ADP data that we've gathered.
Yeah, and he's going right at the end of the 5th round there. So his ADP is 60.1. He's going around Dallas Goedert, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins. Give me the QBs and give me the elite tight end.
Russell Wilson and him are two spots apart.
Yeah. And honestly, Burks has higher draft capital and less target competition, significantly less target competition.
George Kittle is behind George Pickens.
Yeah.
Guys, what's the deal with Kittle? Kittle was tight end 3 on the year.
Yeah, we tweeted about that this week. He was tight end 3 on the year and tight end 2 on a points per game basis.
He's even higher than Kenny Pickett, which is nuts.
Wow. That is very surprising.
How?
Over the quarterback? You're taking a wide receiver 2 on a not very high-powered offense over the QB that's there? Like, I don't know. I'm not really seeing it with Pickens. He did, from a production standpoint this year, he did well. As a rookie receiver, he had 800 receiving yards. He had more receiving yards than Drake London, which is really, really nice. That's really exciting to see. But again, it's so hard to look, again, we've said this before, look beyond your personal opinion of the player and how talented athletically they are in the NFL. I think George Pickens is going to have a great NFL career. And I think he'll continue to have highlight catches that are just amazing, like Odell Beckham-esque. But that's the thing, is in terms of fantasy production, is George Pickens, even though he's probably as athletic as Odell was at that point in his career, is he going to produce at that level in fantasy? No. He doesn't have the situation for him to be that low-end wide receiver 1.
Going on Terry McLaurin for a second, who is our next sell. Why is Terry a sell?
Because he's always a sell. Because he always underperforms. This year was the best year of his career. And again, this is another NFL versus fantasy production thing. We would kill to have Terry McLaurin on the Indianapolis Colts. Would we change Terry? Would we change Terry's ranking if he went to any other team?
No.
Probably not that much.
Great NFL player.
He's a great NFL player. He's not really, in our eyes, a true target-dominating wide receiver 1.
Why is Terry McLaurin... why is Terry McLaurin going 14 spots over Daniel Jones in ADP?
Oh, my. Daniel Jones, guys...
Why... did Brandon Ayuk, first of all, no, I think there's a good argument to be made.
I'd be fine taking Terry over Ayuk.
I would take Ayuk. I think Ayuk is going to be... and not to mention he's younger, but I think he has a higher ceiling than Terry McLaurin does, and in a better situation with the Shanahan offense. So, again, Kenny Pickett, he's going higher than Kenny Pickett as well. He's going pretty close to where George Pickens is going as well.
Yeah, the 108, the rookie 108. There, you're talking about QJ possibly going.
How would you not take the
108
over George or over Terry McLaurin?
Addison, I don't even have to tell you what Terry's production has been the last 3 years or last 4 years.
He's a wide receiver
I can put
too.
it up on the board actually if you really want to see it. I will, but it's the same stuff.
Look how
every year.
mediocre that is.
His floor is awesome. He's such a surefire wide receiver too.
Oh, this is such a hate video. I feel like next is Brian Robinson. Now this one I really will go in on Brian Robinson. So I don't understand what the appeal is here because, Brian Robinson was really nothing special in college. He had a super late breakout. It took him, 4 years at Alabama to finally do anything, right? And then, he comes to the NFL and he gets drafted by, if I'm thinking of the worst possible running back landing spots in terms of how convinced am I that they're going to get the snap share, Kansas City and Washington are the two that I'm like, oh crap, because talented running backs can go there and it does not freaking matter. Don't tell me Clyde Edwards-Helaire was not talented, because he was. There's a reason he was highly touted. There's a reason people were drafting him over Jonathan Taylor. And while in hindsight that was completely stupid and completely wrong, why is his value, why is his production completely dead now? Because he's playing in an offense that utilizes 3 or more running backs fairly consistently. Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Same thing in Washington. Again, Antonio Gibson is the more talented football player. I mean, when you're talking about his rounded, his full skill set, he's much more well rounded. Brian Robinson, yeah, he's a very strong runner. He's a bruiser, and they like that. But I'll tell you what, and McKissick has honestly, McKissick's receiving or upside in the receiving game makes me even more comfortable with him as well. But Brian Robinson, what do we really expect from B-Rob when Ron Rivera gets canned? Because they're not always going to use 3 backs equally there. And Brian Robinson's, number one, he's already, I think, almost 25. I think he's 24 right now.
He's just about to turn 24 here. He's 23.8.
Okay, sorry. My bad. He's almost 24. So that is older for a rookie running back, obviously. And again, it's because it took him forever to do anything at Alabama. He's not overly talented. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but I don't remember him getting a fair amount of work in the receiving game, given that Gibson and McKissick were on his team, probably taking receptions away from him until McKissick got hurt, at least.
He had 9 receptions on the year for 60 yards. Gotcha. 9 receptions. His ADP currently is going right at the end here of the 10th round. His ADP is equivalent to the rookie 204.
Wow.
A 23 second round pick. Smash.
There are like 5.
Smash.
There are 5.
He doesn't have the draft capital. He went in the fake 3rd round. He went at the 334. So
there are like 5 running backs in that mid-second range that are more talented than Brian Robinson, at least. Go get a mid, or if you can get an early second for Brian Robinson, I will sing your praises. So again, that's not ideal there. This one's gonna ruffle some feathers, man. This video is gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Rookie picks are our next sell. Avery, this is the best class. This is the best class there's ever been. 2023 is the best class. Why would you sell your rookie picks?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good class.
Pretty good.
It's a really good class.
But again, when we talked about this in our valuing picks versus players video, you do have to factor in that there is some risk involved with these rookie picks, and where they're going right now. You can get elite proven fantasy assets. Why would you not? And usually, the best time to wait to sell your rookie picks is during the draft, because that's when their value peaks. I'm not sure how much further up these picks values can go. I'm doing a startup right now where the 101 obviously is going in the first round. The 102 and the 103, and sometimes the 104 is going before the beginning of the 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do we take a shot in the dark on a QB, or do we take a proven? The guys, people get so excited about these prospects. And they're good prospects. This is a good class, but you can get a haul, guys. A haul.
Let's give you an example here of some like 1-for-1s according to our ADP here. So Jalen Waddle and Breece Hall are the 102.
Come on.
Okay. Garrett Wilson or Tyreek Hill. Or the 103. Okay. Cooper Kupp, ETN, Eckler, London, or the 104. All right. Devontae Smith.
I don't understand.
The 105.
Do you guys not like winning championships? But people bash us for the James Conner take.
Godwin or the 106.
He scores points. Guys, the whole idea of fantasy, we forget this so often in Dynasty. This is why Dynasty leagues can be easy to win, is because people get so caught up in youth and so caught up in, it's long term, so I have to draft all the young players. They completely forget that the object of the entire game is to score more points than your opponent. Guys, these rookies, as good as this class is, as much as I love a lot of them, they're not going to come in, and most likely they're not going to come in and score a bunch of points right away. And when they do score points, it's going to be 2 or 3 days. Like, why sacrifice winning a championship now with guys like Cooper Kupp, who could be the wide receiver 1 on the season?
Guys, Cooper Kupp ain't slowing down.
For the
he didn't slow down this year.
For the 104. I don't. Yeah, it's actually a decent time to sell those picks. Just make sure if you do sell them, because the class is so good, because the prospects are so good, make sure you get an absolute freaking haul. Because again, you hold the upper hand in those negotiations, and you can.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, looking at some of these equivalent values, I mean, as valuable as these 23 picks are right now, I mean, I'm looking at the 106 being equivalent to Chris Godwin and Josh Jacobs. Honestly, you could probably get Godwin plus for the 106. The 107, Najee, Jameson Williams going around the 107. You can get those players plus something else for the 107.
I mean, so people just don't realize how valuable those proven elite, like the Chris Godwins. Chris Godwin is a crazy good dynasty asset.
Godwin will always be a buy forever.
Tell me why Tyler Allgeier is a sell for you in Dynasty.
We'll continue to preach draft capital here. Tyler Allgeier has been outproducing in terms of efficiency even Dameon Pierce this season, and in my opinion, I think he's a better, more well-rounded back. He does have, I think he does have some receiving upside that he was showing here this past season. I'm looking at, not a ton. Actually, not a ton. Only 16 receptions for 139 receiving yards. So there you go. He doesn't have draft capital, and he doesn't have much receiving upside. He's a good runner. He had just under 5 yards a carry. He broke 1,000 rushing yards this year. As a rookie, that went in the 5th round. Like, that's awesome. But we're looking at one of the worst teams in the NFL, in the Atlanta Falcons. We don't know what QB is going to play there. I'm sorry, it's not going to be Desmond Ridder long term.
It's not.
Even though you want to believe in that 3rd round QB. And Kyle Pitts in London, if they can, this running back class this year in 2023 is so loaded, I could see them easily just taking one in the 2nd or 3rd. No problem. So
any of these teams could. Tyler Allgeier, Isaiah Pacheco, Dameon Pierce, they could all get James Robinson. In fact, the odds are, statistically, guys, numbers, they're facts. Most of the time, these guys get replaced. Pretty quickly, actually. Yep. After the first year, a lot of it happens. It happens too often for you to deny it at this point. And Tyler Allgeier, honestly, is probably the best out of these running backs. And
we really like him of these 3.
And who knows if it's going to matter or not. But the other guy, after him is Isaiah Pacheco, who we have as a sell. I know he plays for the Chiefs. And
he runs
Mahomes
weird
is
too.
Good, and he runs weird, and he was an actual preseason darling that turned out to be something. I get that. Again. No draft capital. It does matter with running backs, by the way. He's playing with a 3-back committee, so his fantasy upside is going to be limited. I mean, he ended up being the workhorse back in Kansas City. Like, I mean, he ended up getting the majority of the snaps at the end of the year. I mean, you're looking at, and when I say majority, I mean he's getting 35, 49, 45, 36%, and points-wise, he's scoring 12, 12, 10, 8, 12. 16, 15, 10, 6, 1, 4.
Yeah, same yards per carry, same efficiency here as Tyler Allgeier. Worse draft capital. And again, I'm starting to see a trend here with these running backs that are going in the late rounds of NFL drafts. Their receiving upside is almost non-existent. Pacheco, 13 receptions on the year for 130 yards.
That's not going to cut it, guys.
It's not going to cut it for him to stick around, and for the Chiefs to actually invest in him.
Go get Devin Singletary. Go get James Cook. Somebody. I mean, those guys are actually catching passes out of the backfield.
Yep. We always love those outliers. We always love those Arian Fosters. We always love those Austin Eckler's. Why did Austin Eckler stay, and why did the Chargers invest in him? It's because he is the top of the top pass-catching running backs in the NFL.
What do you guys? I mean, and last one here. What do we really think Isaiah Likely is going to do? Like, I mean, Isaiah Likely's not lining up at wide receiver because, and the proof is in the pudding. Because when Mark Andrews doesn't play, Isaiah Likely plays great. He looks fantastic. He produces at a very high level. But short term, he's behind Mark Andrews. And when Mark Andrews does play, Isaiah Likely, for the most part, is performing at almost nothing level. So I don't understand what the expectations are for Isaiah Likely. I mean, we saw that trade in our leagues with Isaiah Likely in it, where we were like, what the heck is going on? Just completely lopsided. And, I'm like, is this about Isaiah Likely? Like, Likely's playing behind Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is maybe the best tight end in the league. Second best tight end in the league. Travis Kelce's the best tight end in the league.
And when we were just talking about this in our one of our videos last week, but the Greg Roman offense definitely caters to those tight ends and those committee running backfield systems. And what's going to happen now? Like, are they actually going to use 3 or 4 tight ends in their offensive scheme from now on? Like, we don't really know. But like, and not to mention Charlie Collar. Like, we personally
Charlie Collar's a good
we might
prospect.
like Collar more than Likely.
He was a good prospect, man. I loved watching his film.
So we'll see what happens here. But if you're excited about Likely's fantasy outlook down the road, I mean, I'm not seeing him take off for another 3 to 4 years, which means he's dang near valueless now. You're talking about an entire lifetime in Dynasty.
Trying to find where he's being drafted at.
His ADP is not like ridiculously high, but it's high enough where I'm packaging him with some other tight ends and getting a better one. Like,
and that's just a testament to the Bear tight end landscape right now. I mean, you can package Isaiah Likely plus. I mean, even Greg Dulcich. Greg Dulcich is a much better option than Isaiah Likely right now because Greg Dulcich is the tight end 1 on his team. He is, still playing with a good quarterback, at least in Russell Wilson. I know he sucked this year, but let's ride in the next year and see what he does. And,
yeah, Likely's an equivalent to a 23 early third right now, the 302. There's actually some pretty decent talent that you're going to be getting at the 302 there. Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki are almost going back-to-back with Likely. Those are just 2 other tight ends. And then, you've got Singletary, where we know what he is. We don't know where he's going to end up next year. But, like, he produces in fantasy, and if you need to flex him, you can. And he does an all right job. Madison, Madison's a good running back. I'm taking pretty much all of those guys over Likely just because they'll probably produce at some point, like, and Likely won't.
Look, likely will not.
Yeah, he likely won't.
We're going to get a lot of crap for this. We know that a lot of times these sells we miss. Like we listened we
totally
back a lot last season. So we're just going with our guts. We're just analyzing the market, and we're just giving you who we personally, in our opinion, not fact, in our opinion, we think these guys are sells. We know you're probably going to think differently, so feel free to pop in the comments. Try not to be too hard on us. Again, we know that odds are you are going to be just as right as we are about this stuff. So if you disagree, you have just as good a chance of being right, and if you have somebody else that you think is a sell, I mean, it's just at this point it's just starting discussions on who sells, who's not. These were who we picked out, and so we wanted to talk about it. That was a fun video though. We got to it's the first nasty video we've done in a while. I miss being nasty on the show. So all right, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You got all kinds of new unfiltered Dynasty content coming your way. I guess this is a little bit more of a grinded out video, but we're also doing rookie analysis, buys. We've already done buys, and now we've done sells, so things like that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and get access to all that. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you go to our locals page, check out all of our exclusive content there. As always, we appreciate all of you guys listening and watching. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.